The gymnasium was silent, thousands of eyes locked onto a single figure trembling in the center of the stage. A loud rip echoed through the space, followed by cruel laughter. Her hands shot to her sides, trying to hold the torn fabric of her uniform together, but the damage was done. Her face flushed a deep red, eyes glistening with humiliation. For a moment, it seemed like time froze. Then a girl screamed from the crowd, "Closer!" That broke the spell, and the laughter exploded again. Her name was Emily Carter, 16 years old, soft-spoken, bookish. The kind of girl who sat at the back of the classroom and never raised her hand, even when she knew the answer. The kind of girl people barely noticed, until that day. It had started weeks earlier. The popular clique, led by Jasmine, daughter of a well-known actress, had taken an interest in her for reasons Emily couldn't understand. Maybe it was the way she dressed, modest and plain. Or the way she seemed happy being alone. Maybe Jasmine just needed a new target. Emily had faced whispers behind her back, cruel notes slipped into her locker, and sarcastic comments in the hallways. But what happened at the school assembly pushed everything too far. That morning she'd worn her usual neatly pressed uniform, hair tied back, a small notebook tucked under her arm. The principal had asked for volunteers to represent their classes on stage for a special student leadership segment. Emily, surprisingly, had been chosen by her teacher for her quiet integrity. She hadn't wanted to go, but her teacher smiled and said, "The world needs to see students like you." The moment she stepped on stage, Emily felt a pit growing in her stomach. The spotlight blinded her, but she could still hear the snickering from the front rows. Jasmine and her gang, she kept her chin high. But just as she started to speak, someone rushed up behind her. Quick hands yanked the back of her uniform, tearing the fabric down her side in front of everyone. Gasps rippled through the room, and then laughter. Her knees buckled, her voice cracked. She looked at the crowd, searching for a friendly face. There was none. What no one knew, what not even Jasmine knew, was that Emily's father wasn't just the new guy on the school board. He owned the entire school. John Carter was a quiet man, humble. He had taken over the private academy 6 months ago, but had chosen to keep a low profile to avoid giving his daughter special treatment. He believed in fairness, in merit, in giving Emily space to find her own strength. But when he saw the video, circulated within minutes of the incident, he broke that silence. The next morning, the entire school received a message. Assembly at 10 a.m., mandatory. No one knew what to expect. Emily stayed home, still shaken. Her father didn't pressure her. He only said, "I'm going to speak up this time. For you." At 10 a.m. sharp, the students filed into the gymnasium. The air was tense. Whispers buzzed in every corner. Then Mr. Carter walked on stage. He was a tall man, calm but intense, no microphone needed. 2 days ago, a student was humiliated here, in this room, in front of all of you. He began. His voice was steady but firm. "Her name is Emily Carter, my daughter." Shock spread across the room. And what happened to her was not just bullying. It was violence. It was cowardice. It was cruelty encouraged by silence. Jazz's mind shifted in her seat. "I own this school," he continued, his gaze never wavering. "I've stayed in the background because I believe students should be given space to grow. But now I see, I was wrong to stay silent." He paused. "Effective immediately, there will be consequences, but more importantly, there will be change." The crowd was dead silent. "I'm implementing a new student respect code designed by students, led by students, and Emily will chair the committee. Anyone who continues to bully or demean others will face serious disciplinary action. No exceptions." He looked straight at Jasmine. "No matter who their parents are." That afternoon, Emily returned to school. She expected whispers, maybe more laughter. But instead, students clapped as she walked down the hall. A few apologized, awkwardly but sincerely. Some teachers came to her and offered their support. And when Jasmine was suspended for 3 weeks, the message was clear: status wouldn't protect cruelty anymore. Emily didn't become the most popular girl in school. She didn't want to be. But she found her voice. She led the respect committee with quiet strength, helping create a culture where others like her, shy, different, overlooked, had a place. Where students knew someone had their back. She stood tall now. Not because she was protected by power, but because she had learned to protect herself and others. The girl who once shook in front of a laughing crowd now stood before hundreds and spoke with steady confidence. Not all stories end with revenge. Some end with courage, and Emily's ended with change. The message: Sometimes the quietest voices carry the greatest strength. When we choose kindness over cruelty, courage over silence, we don't just change one life, we change the whole story. Meet Emily Carter, 16, shy, kind, invisible to most. But she never minded. She had her books, her dreams, and her quiet corner of the world. Until the world decided to notice her. For all the wrong reasons. Cut to the hallway. Jasmine and her clique walk past Emily and bump into her. Show a montage of bullying, a cruel note reading, "No one would notice if you disappeared." Falls from Emily's locker. Her chair is pulled out before she sits. Laughter when she answers a question and stutters.